Welcome back to Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. I think we're gonna have to bring back everyone's favorite recurring character to spin the wheel, Brick. Carl clearly needs a break. I love him, but he's just been doing a poor job of picking games. This streak is amazing. We are now at 12 episodes since we've gotten an above average game. Alright, nice, we got the NES. We have 697 games left on the wheel for the NES. A lot of good games, a lot of classics. I really hope Brick can get us a good one. Whomp Em. Oh boy, I can see where this is going. Let's grab a controller and power everything on and see what we got here. While we're bringing in recurring characters, we might as well get the Mortal Kombat guy in here to just get this over with.
Problematic.
Thank you. Yeah, so the name Whomp Em is a play on words. Whomp Em is the Native American word for like bead jewelry. This was used as decoration and sort of as money. But, you know, how many games out there actually star a Native American protagonist? Aside from the name, there's nothing really offensive here. I mean, it's definitely not Custer's Revenge. You might recognize right off the bat that this is very much a Mega Man type game. If you're familiar with Mega Man, you will see that immediately. Much like Mega Man, there's no order to the levels, and each of those levels has a boss at the end that when you beat, will give you a new ability. But we'll get to that. Let's rewind a bit to look at the history of this game. This game is actually a reskin, and what that means is it was a completely different game in Japan, and they kind of gave it a facelift for North American audiences. The most well-known example of this is Super Mario Bros. 2. There was a Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan. It looked very much like Super Mario Bros. 1, except it was a lot harder. Nintendo decided for multiple reasons that it wouldn't be good to release as Super Mario Bros. 2 in North America, so they took another game that they had called Doki Doki Panic, and they replaced a lot of the assets, all the characters, and the story itself with Mario stuff, and that's what we know as Super Mario Bros. 2. But that was not a Mario game, which is why it feels so different from parts 1 and 3. This game was a similar situation. So in Japan, there was a game called Sayuki World 2 Tenjokai no Majin, or Evil Spirit of Heaven, and this game was based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West. Now, in Asian cultures, Journey to the West is almost mythological storytelling. It's, you know, so many Western stories are based on the legend of King Arthur, sometimes very indirectly, you know, but they're loosely based on it. It's the same thing with Journey to the West. It's about the Monkey King or Sun Wukong. It's a dude with a staff and a tail and rides around on a cloud. Goku from Dragon Ball comes from Journey to the West. The anime One Piece, Romance of the Three Kingdoms comes from Journey to the West. And newer games, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, you might recognize, that's from Journey to the West. So at the time that this game was released by Jaleco, they recognized that Western audiences don't identify with this imagery. So they decided to reskin the character as Native American and pepper in a little Native American imagery here and there. But it's basically the same game, and he's got his staff and he's still riding around on a cloud. They just got rid of his tail and put a little feather in his bandana. Problem solved. So there's the background. I think that's super interesting. And yeah, what can I say about the gameplay? Like I said, it borrows more than heavily from Mega Man. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if it's a good game, it's a good game. A lot of games and movies and any kind of entertainment borrow from other things, but do they do it well? And this does. The graphics are really, really clean and crisp. I was actually impressed by it. And I don't know if you can tell here because I actually forgot to turn off my scanline CRT filters. Those filters usually don't transfer well to capturing and then posting on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. So it might not look that great, but trust me when I say this game looks really, really good for its time. And the different abilities you can get are actually pretty cool and useful. You have your regular staff that you can extend to be longer. You have this spinny blender sort of one that you can use to break up rocks. There's this one that sucks in enemies and you can shoot them at other enemies. There's a water one I couldn't find a use for. There's a fire one. There's a spear you can put in walls and jump up them. Then you got your little cloud that you can fly on. I mentioned that earlier. And then after you beat all the levels and get all those abilities, you get a really powerful dragon one where you can shoot a golden dragon and it's really strong, does a lot of damage. So the abilities are pretty cool and useful in different situations. So what did we think of Whomp Em for the NES? I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty surprised by this. Borrows heavily from Mega Man, but if you're gonna borrow from one of the best. Graphics are great, gameplay is tight. The music varies. Some levels I was really digging the music, and then other ones it was pretty repetitive and mind-numbing. If I had one complaint complaint, it would be that most of the game is actually kind of too easy. And my attention span isn't what it used to be, so I kind of appreciate that. But after you beat the main 6 levels and get to that final level, the difficulty spikes. So it's a little imbalanced. The final boss, too, very tough. But overall, yeah, a really good game. Don't judge a game by its potentially culturally insensitive cover. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I dig it, and I would play it again. Wow, I guess Carl really needed a break, huh? Or maybe Brick is just better at this sort of thing. Do you think we should give Carl another chance and let him spin the wheel next week? Maybe the week off will give him some new motivation. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we will see you then.